I'm Dan Firks, and this is Firks 5.
Okay, Rena, tell me a little bit about the chapel.
So in many ways, this is really what the start of what you know today as Naperville Settlement.
Okay.
This building was actually part of St. John's Episcopal Church. And when they decided to expand, there was the idea that this building would be demolished.
Okay.
So a group of concerned Napervillians got together and raised enough money to save the building and to move the building from its original location to here. And so as a result of that, the Naperville Heritage Society was created in 1969, and they continue to administer and operate this museum. They have been doing it for more than 55 years in partnership with the city of Naperville. So this building essentially was deconsecrated and has now become a space for many things. Anything from just simple community gatherings to weddings. We do a lot of weddings here.
So we're still doing weddings in this building today.
Absolutely. We have, our famous line is that we have married everything from hippies to hipsters. We began those services in about 1971.
Okay.
And we continue to do them all the way through today. And certainly, however your special day is that you wish to have it.
What a great place to have it. I mean,
Yes.
the architecture is just incredible.
And it absolutely photographs beautifully. The acoustics here is second to none.
I can see that, absolutely.
So as we move on, we're going to move on to where everything really started, which was
Tell me about that.
at the Carolyn Martin Mitchell home. So she began what is known as a perpetual charitable trust, and it essentially said that she would be willing to donate her 212 acres for very specific purposes of ways. And her home was to be a museum. Part of what we have as our goal is to bring more curiosity about career paths in agriculture. Our state actually is losing students to Indiana and to Iowa because our students are not really grasping that if they're interested in STEM education, that they can do it in agriculture. As part of that, one of the things that we're looking to do is to form an agricultural hub, because it does a lot to talk about our agricultural history from who we were, but also to discuss how agriculture and food is part of our everyday life, whether we see a farm today or never. The idea of food production is everything from social justice to international economics and anything you can think in between. It's STEM education, it's engineering, it's marketing, it's everything that you can really look forward to. And so we hope to just build something of a pathway for them to consider that as part of.
I think that's a great idea.
Yes.
That's something that sounds like it's much needed.
Absolutely. There are some very high-paying jobs that essentially are going unfulfilled because Illinois doesn't have enough people that are trained in that.
That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much today.
I know. Well, and this is Dr. Daniels' house right here. This was also moved onto this grounds. Dr. Daniels was a pharmacist in town, and part of the reason that we like this being where it's at is because he used a lot of medicinal plants to treat his patients. And so the idea that you can see once again where agriculture and food and plants and so on can be used for so many different things, whether it's medicine or food or textiles, the possibilities are many.
Endless.
Yeah. And this is part of the important educational story of the city of Naperville. This is the Copenhagen schoolhouse. It's a one-room schoolhouse.
One-room schoolhouse.
And one of the interesting things about Joseph Naper is when he moved here, within the first year, he had a teacher. And within the first 3 years, they had a school. And unlike many other communities, they also welcomed women girls to the schools to study as well.
Was this something that you didn't see often?
No. Girls would stay home and learn homemaker.
Okay.
But in this case, they were taught to read and write. And a lot of the times it was, to read the Bible and things that were conducive to the time. But it's nonetheless important to note that our educational history and what we put in terms of efforts is something that is at the very, very core of who we are as a city.
Wonderful. Love that.
Yeah. And of course,
what do we got here?
This is the Mary and Richard Bank Family Agricultural Center. In looking at that agricultural history and how very full it was, we needed to have space to be able to exhibit it, to be able to teach, to be able to have exhibits. And so it is a learning center for all of that. The back of the building is also the IDNR STEM lab. We were lucky enough to receive a grant from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. And so we now have a STEM lab. And through that, we have received a wonderful grant now 2 years in a row from the Illinois Soybean Association. And they have been gracious enough to fund 5,000 school children each year. So in
Here
our
in Naperville?
first, yes. Well, the children can come from other schools. It doesn't have to be right here in Naperville, but certainly our Naperville schools participate. So just think of it, in 2 years alone, we will have more than 10,000 school children that will have an understanding that perhaps they would never have had about agriculture and STEM and careers and paths for them.
That's awesome.
They built preemption houses, not always called that, but essentially they were the one-stop centers. So you could go to the preemption house to do everything from register your land, see a judge. It was a hotel and a bar, etc. And part of what you did is, of course, you were coming with horses and wagons. And so across the street from the preemption house, from our real preemption house, was the blacksmith shop. So as you moved westward and you came here, you would have the repairs done to your horses or the shoeing of the horse or the wagons while you were at the preemption house, whether it was the hotel or the restaurant or registering the land or doing the things that you needed to do.
Gotcha.
So this blacksmith shop...
And then right next door is the blacksmith, so tell me about that.
That's right. So this blacksmith shop was basically the recreation of what we had here in Naperville. And if you have gone to Sullivan's Steakhouse.
Absolutely.
That is where the real preemption house was once stood. And across the street in that small parking lot is where the actual blacksmith shop was.
This actual building?
Not this one. This one was a recreation of it, but
Gotcha.
it was exactly what it looked like when it was at that parking
I love
spot.
that. Rena, thank you for taking the time to meet with me here at Naperville Settlement. I enjoyed our time together. It was amazing.
Well, thank you for coming. Thank you for making the time to come and see us. It is always a pleasure. We are here for everyone. So for those of you that are watching, please come. We'd love to have you and to see you and to tell you a little bit about the place you live.
And thank you for joining us for this segment of Firks 5, and we'll see you around town.